Hello, everybody. My name is Richard Palfrey, body engineer. Welcome to my channel. I'm also recording this simultaneously as a podcast. So if you're watching me on YouTube or you're following me on iTunes or Spotify or any other platform, it's great to have you listening and watching. And there'll be a full episode with a guest later on this week. Okay. So today I'm going to talk about an issue that I saw in the British media. Being a Brit, I do pay attention to this kind of things, even though I live in the UAE. Just in the last couple of days of the notion that there is a trial currently ongoing for a drug to be used to deal with obesity. Essentially, it's been called a weight loss injection, which immediately made me balk as someone who's all about professionally health and personal, longevity. The idea of just giving someone something to stab themselves with rather than take personal responsibility really, to me, sounded outrageous. So I had to read into it a bit more. Now, this is a drug called semaglutide. I'm looking just off the side of the camera, by the way, because that's where my notes are, and available under the name Wegovy. Okay, it's an injectable drug. As I said, it comes in pre-filled injectable pens that someone taking it would use once a week. Now, this drug is primarily used in low doses for the treatment of type 2 diabetes, which, of course, is a very worthwhile cause and has a very good purpose initially. What it's also been discovered as, through ongoing use, is it tends to make the people who use this drug feel full and they don't have an inclination to eat very much. So if you're thinking about how do we deal with an ever-increasing percentage of the population who is obese or morbidly obese, I know, let's just give them shit to jab into their bodies and then we'll just, dust our hands of the problem and it goes away as far as the government's concerned. Now, it's not a case of a small problem either, because again, looking at my notes to the side of the camera here, apparently, currently in the obese, government estimates that there are 12.4 million obese people, 1.3 of which are morbidly obese. Obesity costs the NHS directly 6.1 billion a year, that's pounds, and the UK as a whole, the economic impact is an estimated 27 billion pounds a year. So this is no small problem, okay? It's something that seriously does need to be addressed. Now, the conditions for the trial that's currently ongoing are to when this becomes a publicly available drug for the people that may require or may have it available to them, it would only be available via a specialist. It would have to be prescribed to those that have at least one weight-related significant health condition that impacts the quality of their life, and they would only be able to have it for a maximum of 2 years. Now, there's a few points there to address, one of which is also a quote from a representative of NICE, that is the NICE in the UK, the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence. What a title. Has been quoted as saying, the management of obesity is one of the biggest challenges facing the health service right now. It's a lifelong condition that needs medical intervention. Well, I have a few issues with that sentence. It doesn't need to be a lifelong condition, and it doesn't need to require medical intervention. That, I think, is the basis behind all of this as a trial, as a drive, okay? So I have a few points here and a few questions. Firstly, obesity is not a disease. It's not a condition, okay? It doesn't fall out of the sky and hit you. No one's ever suffered a drive-by obesity attack. You can't catch it. You can't pass it on. It's not COVID. Obesity is a consequence of a combination of factors: lifestyle, home life, both as a child and you as an adult. It's your attitude towards activity and exercise, your personal choices and relationship with food, and the recognition that you have or denial of your personal choices and those consequences. Now, there are people that may watch this or listen to this that will go, oh, you're an ist, or you're so-and-so this, or you're a fat phobe, or whatever else. I'm nothing of the kind. If I was, I wouldn't have a career. I wouldn't have a profession in the fitness industry. I'm someone who deals in the reality of the situation, okay? Obesity does not require a drug as a counter to it. Now, going on, as I said, about my personal points on this, all right? How long before this passes its trial? And let's face it, if it's public, it is going to pass its trial. How long before the curated group becomes a much wider audience? I've already highlighted the cost on an annual basis to the UK of obesity and morbid obesity. How long before the government goes, you know what, let's just box it up, stamp it, and push it out there? And then we hopefully reduce the economic impact through ever-expanding obesity. In the same way that cosmetic surgery used to be the preserve of the wealthy or those that had already undergone some degree of psychoactive evaluation, that's now as easy to have and book as it is to book a service on your car. So how long before this drug or off-market brands of the same thing become readily available? Now, as an aside for this, just this morning, and it's the 9th of February at the moment, I was talking to one of my clients in the gym who has some ties to the pharmaceutical industry. And they were telling me that in a country not too far away from here, as I said, I live in the UAE, a short time ago, the same company who makes this drug had a conversation with the Ministry of Health. And the conversation was on the same tier with the same drug for the same treatment of individuals who have significant health concerns, primarily relating to their obesity, to their weight. Shall we bring this product to your country? Would you like to instigate a program where you use this as a method of treatment? Now, the government, of course, was very enthusiastic because it potentially saw the way to help a lot of patients. Fantastic, good thing to do. And of course, the government talked to the company, and the company got really quite pushy and said, yeah, we can bring it to you in these doses and at this volume and this frequency. And they decided to make a real big pitch and say, would you like to buy it from us for a colossal bulk order, ongoing? And we'll discount by potentially 50%. And to which the government paused in its tracks, apparently, the Ministry of Health, and questioned the notion behind that. And until they realized that would require to be a mass population push in order to get rid of those reserves. And then for the ongoing contract, it was going to cost the government hundreds of millions a year, to which point they stepped away from it and went, nope, not interested, thanks very much. But that's where this is going to go, at least in my opinion. Now, I have another question here. What does this solve? In the long term, what does it achieve? To my mind, it's a cop-out, at least as far as the NHS and the British government are concerned. It's a swerve to long-term investment in a population that I think is perhaps lacking a degree of personal resolve, addressing a situation, that is to say, obesity, that is ever increasing. Every single year, youth obesity, population obesity is increasing. Now, this is not a measure to address that. This is not a measure to educate people at a school age and as adults. This is simply a solution to an economic impact of a situation that is ever increasing, all right? Especially after the last couple of years where people have been forced to stay inside, forced to do a lot less. The fitness industry was shut down. All right, there are people doing some exercise at home and all that kind of stuff. But as a whole, the population has been really kept under wraps. So that is now going to, when the first set of stats are ever taken about the impact on obesity of COVID and Corona, it's going to just spike. I'm absolutely sure of it. Now, I know there are circumstances people are going to go, but you don't know what you're talking about. I do. I really do. I've been doing this for a long time, my particular career. I do know what I'm talking about. Now, there are, of course, instances and scenarios people go, what about PCOS? What about endometriosis? Well, what about steroid treatment from cancer and such? Well, PCOS and endometriosis are conditions that affect body mass and weight gain. They are not absolutes and nor are they excuses. And there are more than a few fitness professionals out there, if you go and look, that specialize in working with people who wish to improve the quality of their life and their health despite those conditions. There's even one very particular personal trainer available. You can go and find her videos on YouTube, Michelle McDaniels, who has made a point of telling everybody she's had those conditions and she's still ripped, good shape, and works as a personal trainer. It is not a cop-out and get-out-of-jail-free card. Yes, it is a condition that affects people's health, but it is not an absolute. As it comes to steroid treatment for things such as cancer, yes, that, of course, can have a horrific effect on people's bodies. I know that personally. I heard a very close relative of mine gained a colossal amount of weight as a consequence of her treatment of cancer, and ultimately it wasn't successful. So that I would accept as a rationale for, some people are in a situation where they can't help but gain weight. Outside of a very small number of cases medically, there is always a way to resolve it. All right. There needs to be education. There needs to be examples and initiatives led to help people take responsibility for their lives, for their personal habits and routines, at least in my opinion. There is no incentive for people to work at improving their quality of life and taking personal responsibility when you give them just another means of immediate satisfaction. We already live in a world where you can find everything on your phone, you can stream it, you can get next day delivery, you can get same day delivery depending on what service you're having or what product you're ordering. And that's only ever going to increase. So again, for the younger generations now and future generations, what does this potentially tell everybody? Yeah, kids, don't give a shit about your health and everything else. There's an injection for that. So get those breakfast donuts down you. Go crazy. Where are we at, people? The idea that weight, body mass can be addressed with an injection. No attempt at promoting a serious program of exercise. No attempt at promoting a large-scale investment in nutrition. Because this will not stop at a trial. This will become available to the public Once the pharmaceutical industry realizes there is a market for this and the government won't stop it arriving in the marketplace, it will be out there. And that's my thoughts on that. You can find me on my website, thebodyengineer.training. You can find me on Instagram at rpthebodyengineer. And I will be putting out another podcast with a guest in a few days' time. Okay, so take care. I'll see you soon.